Good day to you. I'm Dr. Lalith Mendis. I'm the Director, Colombo Empathic Learning Center. I've seen so many parents and kids because of the digital issues. I am now also realizing that there are certain obsessive compulsive disorders that kids go through. So without rushing to psychiatric treatment or pharmacotherapy, how can we prevent this tragedy? Schools and classroom could be a child's most consistent relationship in a world of fractures, because parents may not have the time that a class teacher gives. For 40 minutes, a class teacher, teacher of a subject, sits with the students, observes them, moves through the class. So we have to train the teachers to be also conciliatory. Problem begins in the home. So parents must work with teachers rather than blame school. Parents, the social disconnect and the digital addiction begins at home, but teachers can be the frontier to resolve the issue. So I'm appealing to teachers to work with parents, and I'm appealing to parents and kids to work with the teachers. My suggestion has been appoint about 5, not monitors, but observers of the same class, little relational children, that they'll keep a watch over their kids, especially friends, whether to see someone is getting isolated and moving to suicide ideation. So the Alpha and Gen Z generations, and in the Beta also, have been so influenced by the digital screen and the gender dysphoria that it engenders. I have been on this subject from 2012 researching because I was head of pharmacology in a state medical faculty, and their brain chemistry changes with too much digitization, too much on the digital screen. Dopamine goes up into addictive levels, and addictive dopamine receptors get stimulated, and from top-down regulation, which is empathic and creative, they move to bottom-up regulation through amygdala, hypothalamus, into repetitive behavior, dyspathy, risk-seeking behavior. So at that time I presented the case, SLMA took a seminar on it in 2019. I presented the scientific basis of how the screen affects the brain. But for a long time we thought screen is the way forward. Now we know in many developed countries they have stopped using the screen in the classroom. And in many countries they have prohibited school-going children from under 16 getting into social media. Now there is a hue and cry that under 13 you must not give the smartphone. British Pediatric Academy nearly 10-12 years ago made this appeal not to give the smartphone to kids under 3 because their speech gets affected and phonemes don't form, they can't express themselves. If we listen to all this, we could have been in a better shape, but let's see what we can do. So screen addiction has minimized personal face-to-face relationality and the bonhomie. So screen keeps them very dopamine high, and serotonin for satisfaction is low, GABA for empathy is low, and oxytocin, that makes you happy in communication, is also low. So all this is overcome or overrun by dopamine, and when you keep screen activity into the night, melatonin doesn't work, and then the brain doesn't recover for the next day's work that you have. So you will have this dyspathy, and also losing sleep has its own consequences. This makes them to gravitate towards same-sex affiliation, because boys are not responsible. Girls feel they have to look after their own needs, and also the cartoon figures are very asexual. So the digital screen promotes a very rapid impersonal culture, very aggressive, that doesn't promote romance. So they for their immediate sexual needs, they form girly groups, boy groups all over Colombo schools. This is a problem, so much so that washrooms have to be supervised. So what are the solutions that we are looking for? Daughters and sons must need affirmation for romantic relationships, committed to lifelong relationships. And happily married parents are the best trigger for this. They are the best immunity kids have to make responsible relationships rather than haphazard relationships. The deficiency of marital satiety and happiness of the parental home will adversely affect many generations about the commitment to romance, to pursue. Sex then becomes just a consumerist thing, commodity of the market. Romance involving long-term commitment looks to these digitized kids not worth the while, can't take the risk, can't keep a commitment that long because TikTok influences and life on the screen is very fast and very short. Boys can appear irresponsible. Boys may not make a first move for committed relationships, as I said. Then girls, what do girls do? Girls are left to fend for themselves, and this goes on to lesbian connections and such problems. So we have to return to the fact that God created us as male and female, and there's nothing in between. Marriage is a male parent, dad, a male husband marrying a female wife, and that's how parents are made. Firstly, leftist governments are sexualizing kids, using them as sex toys, underlying the old Marxist theory and education for polymorphous perversity. Secondly, this is the very thing comprehensive sex education and safe schools encourage, as it appeals to the lowest common denominator, to raise a generation of miserably dissatisfied, messed up and kids whose sexuality is in dysphoria and confusion. On the flip side of this is the denial to children of their rights to self-discovery that happens naturally. Constantly they are screen-directed. There's no creative thinking. And with ChatGPT and artificial intelligence, already situation is worsening. So we have an uphill task, but we must not give up on getting kids to get back to activities, sports activities, speaking to each other, teamwork. So we have developed the Den and Dare Challenge Center with a lot of grips and ropes and thrill activity to be done by teams. You are welcome to contact us on our WhatsApp 0742 11 5011. I am Dr. Lalith Mendis. If you want a cost-free consultation, please give a call to 077 171 2801. By depriving kids of the wonderment or discovery of self, and their intimate desires are all inhibited and they go the wrong way. So we have to give them more personalized games and activity. Our kids are being taught that there is nothing more to learn and everything comes from the screen only. So we have to show them that they are created in the image of God and they have a God-given potential, they have a sovereign will, that they don't have to go into the hiding place of the digital screen. In that hiding place they stunt and their growth is obstructed and they do not know what is best for them. And there's an anti-morality crusade goes on that anything goes, and therefore there is the children don't know what values to hold on to. There is no longer the means for kids to learn how to form successful and satisfying lifelong monogamous heterosexual relationships. We have to provide for them. We have to teach against social relationships. We have to teach against romance. Teach again, rather than come out of this fantasy world. Some time back I had a girl and I asked, what is your hobby? She said, I am collecting all the information about monsters that science has not discovered. I said, how do you do that? She said, I am well published on the screen, I am recording. So her virtual reality has shifted so far. So we do our best to get them back and get them on track. And if we can introduce them to the Good Shepherd, he will speak to them. They will hear his voice. That's the promise of the Good Shepherd. They will begin to have value for their own life when they begin to hear the good shepherd's voice of personal voice of comfort, voice of belonging. We must get back there. Science is now a little more humble because the world is going through a crisis and there are ecological crises, and they don't know why floods in so many major cities. Seemingly the ocean's currents that kept the temperature regulation have stopped, and clouds get shifted to one area, and in Texas in one day the rain for one full month came down in torrential buckets kind of thing, and in a few hours a whole year's rain had come on that area. And this has happened in many cities. Also, the lava in the middle of the core, the magma, the molten metals, they have come up and they are trekking under the earth crust, making many parts of the earth crust warmer than normal and creating some hot currents that are doing unexpected, unpredictable atmospheric climatic changes. So it was not the CO2 thing that science was hyperactive, but it's what's happening inside the oceans and the global crust, the problem. So scientists have become humbler, and now they are saying 13,000 years ago that there was a reset with global flooding. Actually, it was in 2350 BC. What the Bible records as the Noah's flood, there's evidence of it everywhere. Fossil graveyards, how dinosaurs suddenly went extinct, and how the sedimentation happened. All that happened in a gigantic global flood which was not billions of years old. It was in our near past. That's what the science says. And there are dinosaur fossils with DNA intact, which means that DNA is quite young, not 1 million years old. So scientists have also scaled down their former predictions, and it is a time that we can humbly look back to God our Creator, God our Father, and say, save us from our madness. You can know Him personally. He has promised that you can hear His voice. And strangely, the Lord Jesus Christ said when He's coming a second time, He said that the world would be like Noah's times and the floods have come and the immorality is rampant. He also said the world will be like Lot's time. Lot was a gentleman who lived in 2000 AD near the Dead Sea in an area called Sodom, and sodomy comes from that area, and it was rampant with homosexual activities, and a volcano erupted and destroyed Sodom, and Lot left his family and escaped for his life. So that entire area around the Dead Sea is rich in phosphate and sulfates, showing that there was volcanic activity, and that's how the Dead Sea became the Salt Sea. It's so concentrated that you won't drown, you float in it because salts are in it. So there's present evidence and archaeological evidence that what the Word of God said about Sodom is true. Our take home is right at this time, there's so much of sodomite activity as the Bible predicted. So we can be humble and say, Good Shepherd, help us. Good Shepherd, hear us. Help us to get close to you. As I said at the beginning, I am Dr. Lalith Mendis, Director, Colombo Empathic Learning Center. If you want any more clips for spirituality, reason and science, or for digital screen brain balance lectures, please send a WhatsApp to +94 74 211 5011. If you want to bring a child for their digital problems or character issues, please give a call for a cost-free consultation to 077 151 2801. Thank you for listening.